Okay, guys, so I am at the Elmina Castle, and this was the very first castle. This was the very first castle that they built, and this is where the slave trade started from. We all know about the Cape Coast, but the Cape Coast was later. This is where everything started from, and everything started with the Portuguese. It's all started with the Portuguese, and also the castle. So I've heard that the castle is 544 years. You guys, were you born? Like, were you born? Okay, hi guys. So now we are here. We've reached the castle. So behind me, this is the castle, and today I'm bringing you the history of slave trade in Ghana. So we are going to go inside, and then they will give us the history of what happened, how were the people treated inside, how did it go, like the whole story. So let's go inside and get a story of this castle. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's go.
Nice to meet you. You are welcome to Elmina Castle or St. George's Castle. And my name is Kwamina Emisa. You are born on Saturday. I prefer the local name. One peculiar thing about the Africans that make us unique is our proverbs. Our proverbs. So please let me quiz you a bit. So until the lion has his story, the hunter will always be a hero. It implies that history needs to be told from the victim side. Most of the books that you read, the version of the Europeans, we need to write and tell our own story. And history defines who you are, which is your identity. If you don't know your history, then you don't know yourself. Yes. Once again, Akwaba. That's nice. Yeah. Uh, Actually, we are on the Anomansaman soil. This Anomansaman Castle. Anomansa, inexhaustible water. In Swa Enoma Onsa, or Kwamakwakrum, he was the founder of this town. The frequent supply of gold the Portuguese were getting from here, they call this place the gold mines. Elmina, Elmina. The Portuguese also call this place Aldea. In their language, it means village. In Arabic, it means harbor or port. The word has been corrupted or changed to Edina. In 1471, that was the first time the Portuguese arrived over here. When they came, they met the then king called Nana Kwamina Ansa. Based upon agreements, he released this portion of land. The main concept over here wasn't meant for slavery, no, into goods. All the rooms on the ground floor were the storerooms or the warehouses for their gold, ivory, spices, and so on. In 1500, the Portuguese changed the idea from goods to human trade. The warehouses were being converted to dungeons where captives or enslaved Africans were kept. And this castle is talking about 1,000 captives at a time, about 600 men and about 400 women. At times, the number could be more. 1637, the Dutch took over the castle with the support from the locals. Later, the English came in 1872. As of now, the castle is 544 years. This is the biggest and the oldest castle in the whole of West Africa in terms of transatlantic slave trade. In this castle, it was all the Portuguese and the Dutch. They were here for the slavery activities. The English used Cape Coast Castle. When the English occupied the castle, this place was used as a sub-administrative center. During the Second World War, 1939 to 45, the English brought people from all English-speaking West African countries to be trained here. They were taken to Burma and India as a Royal West African Frontier Force. 3 years later, the place was used as a police training school. Then they transferred them to Windy Bay, now called Winneba. Windy Bay. Yeah, they're in Winneba. It's like Cape Coast. The right word is Kabukoso, Island of Coast. Then it has been converted to Cape Coast. In Ghana, Elmina used to be the first administrative center, capital town for Ghana, then time Gold Coast, before it moved to Cape Coast. Then later in 1877, it moved to Accra. Education, religion, development, agriculture also from Elmina. So this is a pure historical town. Before the Europeans came, The Africans were having their own system of slavery, and that was domestic type of slavery or the indentured servant, like a free man. A person has the opportunity to own property, marry, and give birth. Unlike the chattel slave by the Europeans, with different aspects altogether. And let me ask you, how were they getting the captives? So captives of wars were given out as slaves. They are criminals, thieves.
I'm at the Elmina Castle, and this is where the slave trade started from. Most of us know the Cape Coast, and we think the slave trade happened only in the Cape Coast. But so this was the first slave trade where everything started from. And so at the Elmina Castle, the original name was Anomansa, and the meaning of Anomansa is water that does not finish. Okay, so the Elmina Castle was built in the year of 1482. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to understand is the slave trade and everything was started with the Portuguese. The Portuguese arrived in Ghana in the year of 1471, and they built castle in the year of 1482. Let's remember that. And then after, the Dutch took over in the year of 1637. So after the Portuguese, the Dutch took over the slave trade thing. The English came and also took over in the year of 1872. So you see how it has been coming. So, in other words, the castle is 544 years. Yo, you guys, years. Can you believe that?
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, so please watch out for the next part. I didn't want to make this video very long, but I'm coming with part 2 of the Elmina Castle, and in part 2 we are going to talk about the church the Portuguese built, the first church the Portuguese built in this castle. And then we shall also talk about the condemned room. This is where they kept these slaves till they die. That was like a punishment. And then there is also a cell where these white soldiers were kept in case they misbehaved or got drunk and were not doing their duties the right way. They were also put in a cell, but for a short period of time. So we are going to talk about all of this in my next video, so watch out for the next video. Bye, love you, and God bless you.